Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred is not sure if there's going to be baseball in 2020, but a couple of the Braves' biggest stars are now taking to social media to let everyone know that they are ready to play ball. We're talking about Ronald Acuna, Austin Riley, Ender Inciarte, and Mike Soroka. Were very clear. They shared the same message on Instagram. Tell us when and where we are ready. Ozzie Albies had a longer message. He says the fans are ready to watch us play, and the coaches are ready to coach, and the players are ready to play. Let's play ball. Now, as you know, for now, we all want to wait and see if there's going to be any type of progress. Hey,